This is a true story about a boy who had courageous faith in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Many years ago, this boy was torn away from his home and transported many miles to a foreign nation. He was taken captive and made a slave. He was stripped of his name and was forced to learn and adapt to living in a pagan society that did not know the God of Israel. Nevertheless, this boy did not complain, nor did he weep. He adjusted to this sudden change in his life with grace and courage. This boy was anointed by the Most High God to lead and set an example before a people that was hostile toward him. God favored him and likewise caused his foreign captors to favor him also. The king of this foreign nation was a mighty king and was greatly feared throughout the entire world. This king crushed his enemies with ease and ruled with unspeakable power and majesty. As ruthless as this king was, God caused him to favor the boy of this story. In fact, after some time, the king appointed the boy as ruler in his own right. Yes, the boy who had been taken as a slave was promoted to rule in a foreign kingdom over many of his foreign captors. If you haven't figured it out by now, this story is about a boy named Daniel. Daniel was a Hebrew boy that was taken captive by the Babylonians in the year 605 BC. Led by the legendary King Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonians were feared throughout the whole earth. Even as a Babylonian slave, however, by the grace and mercy of God, Daniel was elevated to be ruler in this ruthless and foreign kingdom. Upon the death of Nebuchadnezzar, Darius the Mede received the kingdom, being about 62 years old. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 satraps to be over the whole kingdom, and over these 3 governors, of whom Daniel was one, that the satraps might give account to them, so that the king would suffer no loss. Then this Daniel distinguished himself above the governors and the satraps, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king gave thought to setting him over the whole realm. So the governors and satraps sought to find some charge against Daniel concerning the kingdom. But they could not find no charge or fault, because Daniel was faithful, nor was there any error found in him. Then these men said, "We shall not find any charge against this Daniel, unless we find it against him concerning the law of his God." So these governors and satraps thronged before the king and said thus to him, "King Darius, live forever. All the governors of the kingdom, the administrators and satraps, the counselors and advisors, have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whoever petitions any god or man for 30 days, except you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, so that it cannot be changed, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which does not alter." Therefore, King Darius signed the written decree. Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went home, and in his upper room, with his windows open toward Jerusalem, he knelt down on his knees 3 times that day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as was his custom since early days. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. And they went before the king and spoke concerning the king's decree. Have you not signed a decree that every man who petitions any god or man within 30 days, except you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, The thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which does not alter. So they answered and said before the king, That Daniel, who is one of the captives from Judah, does not show due regard for you, O king, or for the decree that you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. And the king, when he heard these words, was greatly displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men approached the king and said to the king, Know, O king, that it is the law of the Medes and Persians, that no decree or statute which the king establishes may be changed. So the king gave the command, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. But the king spoke, saying to Daniel, Your God, whom you serve continually, he will deliver you. Then a stone was brought and laid on the mouth of the den. And the king sealed it with his own signet ring and with the signets of his lords, that the purpose concerning Daniel might not be changed. Now the king went to his palace and spent the night fasting, and no musicians were brought before him. Also his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste to the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried out with a lamenting voice to Daniel. The king spoke, saying to Daniel, Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God whom you serve continually been able to deliver you from the lions? Then Daniel said to the king, O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, so that they have not hurt me, because I was found innocent before him. And also, O king, I have done no wrong before you. Now the king was exceedingly glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no injury whatever was found on him, because he believed in his God. Now the king gave command, and they brought those men who had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives. And the lions overpowered them and broke all their bones in pieces before they ever came to the bottom of the den. Then King Darius wrote, To all people, nations, and languages that dwell in the earth, peace be multiplied to you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom, men must tremble in fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God and steadfast forever. His kingdom is the one which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall endure to the end. He delivers and rescues, and he works signs and wonders in heaven and on earth, who has delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Grace and peace to you, my brothers and sisters. I hope that you enjoyed this illustration of the story of Daniel and the lion's den. There are so many lessons that we can take from this story. Daniel was committed to God and faithful in prayer. And although he found himself in an unfavorable circumstance, he continued to trust God. And God in turn gave Daniel incredible favor. We should take the example of Daniel and apply it to our lives today. Regardless of your circumstance or situation, you must know that God is able and willing to deliver you from whatever it is you're going through. All you have to do is trust Him. Trust God and watch how He will move in your life. Trust God and watch how He will completely destroy your enemies. Trust God and watch how He will elevate you and cause you to prosper the same way He did for Daniel. If this video lesson has helped or encouraged you in any way, please do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button. That really helps to support my work and my ministry. Also, I have some really good content similar to Daniel's story coming out in the next few days. So please be sure to also hit the notification bell so that you will know when those video lessons are available. From Seek No More Ministries, I'm Javon, and I wish you and your family a most blessed and prosperous new year. I love you. Peace.